Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Chanda Baba Girivaranari Gopi Chanda Baba Girivaranari Yashodanandana Prajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Prajajana Ranjana Yamunatira Vanachari Yamunatira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Chanda Ballava Girivaranari Yashodanandana Prajajana Ranjana Yamunatira Vanachari Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So we're reading today from Srimad-bhagavatam, Canto 9, Chapter 13, text number 10. And the chapter is called The Dynasty of Maharaja Nimi. So chant the Sanskrit. Dehang navarutsehang Dukkha shoka bhayavaham Sarvatra yato mrityor Matsyanam udakeyata Teham navarajut seham Dukkha shoka bhayavaham Sarvatra yato mrityor Matsyanam udakeyata Teham navarajut seham Dukkha shoka bhayavaham Sarvatra yato mrityor Matsyanam udakeyata Teham navarajut seham Dukkha shoka bhayavaham Sarvatra yato mrityor Matsyanam udakeyata Teham navarajut seham Dukkha shoka bhayavaham Sarvatra yato mrityor Matsyanam udakeyata Teham navarajut seham Dukkha shoka bhayavaham Sarvatra yato mrityor Matsyanam udakeyata Teham navarajut seham Dukkha shoka bhayavaham Sarvatra yato mrityor Matsyanam udakeyata Teham navarajut seham Dukkha shoka bhayavaham Sarvatra yato mrityor Matsyanam udakeyata Word for word. Deham, a material body. Na, not. Avarutse, desire to accept. Aham, I. Dukkha shoka bhayam avaham, which is the cause of all kinds of distress, lamentation, and fear. Sarvatra, always and everywhere within the universe. Asha, of the living entities who have accepted material bodies. Yataha, because Mrityu, death, Matsyanam, of the fish, Udake, living within the water, Yata, like. This is still Maharaja Nimi making arguments why he does not want to be born again, or take a body again. I do not wish to accept a material body, for such a body is a source of all distress, lamentation, and fear, everywhere in the universe, just as it is for a fish in the water, which lives always in anxiety because of fear of death.
Здесь продолжают Maharaja Nimi говорить перевод. Я не хочу оказаться в материальном теле, ибо все обитатели Вселенной испытывают горе, скорбь и страх, как трудливая рыбка, которая в воде вечно пребывает в тревоге, лицом неизбежной смерти.
Okay, Srila Prabhupada's purport. The material body, whether in the higher or lower planetary system, is destined to die. In the lower planetary system or lower species of life, one may die soon, and in the higher planets or higher species, one may live for a long, long time. But death is inevitable.
Родившиеся на низших планетах или в низших видах жизни могут умереть скоро. Когда же родившиеся на высших планетах, если не более развитых видов жизни, могут прожить очень долго. Но и для них смерть неизбежна.
This fact should be understood.
Нужно ясно осознавать.
In the human form of life, one should take the opportunity to put an end to birth, death, old age, and disease by performing tapasya.
Тот, кто родился человеком, с помощью тапаси способен вырваться из своего рода рождения смерти старости болезни.
This is the aim of human civilization, to stop the repetition of birth and death, which is called Mrityu Samsara Partmani.
Такова цель человеческой культуры – разорвать это рождение смерти, самсара ватмани.
This can be done only when one is Krishna conscious or has achieved the service of the lotus feet of the Lord. Otherwise, one must rot in this material world and accept material bodies subject to birth, death, old age, and disease.
Для этого человек должен развиться до сознания Кришны, то есть Господом Господом, противном случае он будет жить в материальном мире. Получать материальные блага, чем на раздаться умирать.
The example given here is that water is a very nice place for a fish, but the fish is never free from anxiety about death, since big fish are always eager to eat the small fish.
Жизнь обитателей материального мира сравнивается с существами рыбы, которая прекрасно чувствует себя в воде, однако постоянно живет страх и смерть, поскольку большие рыбы всегда готовы проглотить маленькие.
Falguni Tatra Mahatam. All living entities are eaten by bigger living entities. This is the way of material nature.
Одни существа являются добычей для других, более крупных, так устроена материальная природа. Falguni Tatra
Hastani
Mahatam.
Sahastanam Apadani Chatushpadam Aguni Tatra Mahatam Jiva Shachivanam. Those who are devoid of hands are prey food for those who have hands. Those devoid of legs are prey for the four-legged. The weak are
Ахастани Сахастанам, Ападани Чатушпадам, Фалгуни Тatra Mahatam, живо родилась дивина. Лишенный рук добыча имеющих руки, лишенный ног добыча четвероногих. Сильные живут за счет слабых, а универсальный закон гласит, одно живое существо является пищей для другого. Бхагаватам
1:12. Rigors are the subsistence of the strong, and the general rule holds that one living being is food for another. So the Srimad-bhagavatam, first Canto, 13th chapter, 47th verse. The Supreme Personality of Godhead has created the material world in such a way that one living entity is food for another.
Верховный Господь создал материальный мир таким образом, что в нем одно живое существо служит пищей другому.
Thus, there is a struggle for existence. And although we speak of survival of the fittest, no one can escape death without becoming a devotee of the Lord.
Поэтому здесь всегда идет борьба за существование. Но хотя мы говорим, что выживает самый приспособленный, никто не может избежать смерти, потому что они в Господе.
Haring vina nayava spriting haranti. One cannot escape the cycle of birth and death without becoming a devotee of Krishna. This is also confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 9, verse 3. Jai Shri Jai Shri Radha Vijay Hari Jagannath Balaram and Sivadhu Shri Maharaj Ki Jai. Aprapyaman nivartante mrityu sansara bhartmani. One who does not attain shelter at the lotus feet of Krishna must certainly wander up and down within the cycle of birth and death.
Тот, кто не обрел прибежище лотосных стоп Кришны, так и будет вращаться в провороте рождения смерти.
So, the nature of the material world, that material world is meant to be a place of misery. And why is it miserable? It's miserable because we are eternal and we're stuck in a prison of this material world. But Srila Prabhupada explains that every living entity can live for a certain amount of time. Those who are in a higher position in the universe, higher planets or higher species of life, tend to generally live a longer period of time. And then those living entities in lower species of life will live relatively a very short period of time, generally. Just like Srila Prabhupada tells about some insect, I think maybe a moth, that they come, they're born during the day. You get their wings and they're flying around all during the night, and then and then by the morning they've already laid their eggs and done what they've done, and then they die by the next morning.
Еще Прабхупада приводит пример насекомых, которые утром рождаются, днем летают, ночью там как-то живут, утром умирают.
But for them, they're that a lifespan from the one day and dying the next, so then by the next day, before the next morning, that is their 100 years. That's their whole lifetime.
Для них вот этот промежуток времени, что они утром рождаются, летают, на следующий день умирают, это история, это полная.
And then on the higher planetary systems, the demigods live for much longer time, much longer than human beings live.
А на райских планетах полугодия живут намного более дольше, намного дольше, чем человеческая планета.
But, as Lord Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, Abrahma Bhuvana Loka Lunar Avartina Arjuna, from the highest planet in the material world to the lowest planet in the material world, all are places of misery where repeated birth and death take place.
Кришна говорит, говорит Авраама Бхувана Лока, что начиная с самой лучшей планеты, до самой низкой, все является местом страдания, местом смерти.
And it's not that we're just born and then we die. In between, there's many times there are so much anxiety about so many things.
Когда мы рождаемся, это не значит, что мы сразу умираем. На протяжении жизни множество различных беспокойств.
Srila Prabhupada gives the example in the purport about the fish in water. The fish can be in water and enjoy swimming here and swimming there and engaging in his fish life.
Рыба рождается в воде, плавает туда-сюда,
But for the fish, they're all in fear, because in a natural setting, if there's a fish, there's always a bigger fish, and a bigger one, and a bigger one.
Рыба, она всегда испытывает страх, потому что считается, что это более большая рыба.
Even Srila Prabhupada tells about the Timon fish. Timon gillfish are very large. They can, and their favorite meal is are eating whales. So of course the whale, according to modern science, the whale is the biggest, at least the biggest water species that people know about.
Это самая большая форма жизни, которую люди знают.
But, and I've never seen a Timon gillfish, but Srila Prabhupada says that they still exist in the deep parts of the ocean. And the Timon gillfish, you'll find so many whales together, and he'll eat many whales at one time. They're that big. So anyway, the point is that every species of life, including human beings, there's so much anxiety in the world. They're always fearful about something. So what is the solution? solution is when we finally get a human form of life. Actually, the only solution is for those who have human bodies. And if we get a human form of life, we here obviously have human forms of life, then we should use this human form of life to engage in the Lord's devotional service. And Srila Prabhupada says, I remember in the beginning of the movement, when I first heard it, Srila Prabhupada would say, you've all been struggling, trying to enjoy this material nature for millions and billions of lifetimes. Still you're not happy. So just give one lifetime, 100% in Krishna service, then you'll be happy.
So, Father, God is called.
Until we become Krishna conscious or become engaged, we're convinced and engaged in the Lord's devotional service, so we become fixed in that devotional service, then we can never be really happy. So human life is meant for self-realization. Only human life is meant for self-realization. That is the distinction between human life and animal life. In animal life, there is, of course, interest in every species of life wants to try to enjoy. But the animals, they have no developed intelligence. You can, someone might analyze the monkeys have certain intelligence, the dolphins, they say they have a certain level of intelligence, like that. But the kind of intelligence that how to put an end to the cycle of birth, death, disease, and old age, they cannot have that. So the human so when the soul gradually, after many lifetimes, struggles and comes to the point of human life, that soul and that person should take advantage of the human form of life and engage in the Lord's devotional service. And of course, those who attend these classes are all already engaged in devotional service. Those who attend the classes, everyone here is devotee. So we all what I'm saying, everyone already knows that. But still, so many times, those who take up the path of devotional service become bewildered in different ways and give up the path. But we are, Srila Prabhupada has given us this opportunity, and we we who have gotten this opportunity to take the path of Krishna consciousness should become completely convinced that I will have taken this up. I've made my vow to my spiritual master, and I will not give up this vow. I will not give up spiritual life.
Не нужно принять этот факт, что если мы соприкоснулись с духовной жизнью, и нам станет известны эти подробности, то мы никогда не отложимся от этого.
Srila Prabhupada wrote so many times to chant rounds every day, following regular principles. Engaged in devotional service. If we can do like this throughout our life, or to the end of our lives, then we can become fully Krishna conscious and go back home, back to Godhead. So we may think chanting 16 rounds takes a little time each day. Following regular principles doesn't take any time. So you avoid doing. So very easy. It's very simple. I will become Krishna conscious and I'll go back to Godhead. No big thing. But Lord Krishna cannot be cheated. So Lord Krishna sees he sees our endeavor to become Krishna conscious, or he sees our a lack of sincerity in it. He sees. So to be able to keep chanting and keep following regular principles, and devotional service is not static. Static means static, that means it doesn't move. It's dynamic. So we need to constantly be trying to improve and increase our devotional service, not just hanging out.
Нам нужно всегда стараться улучшать и увеличивать свою преданность служению, а не просто на месте.
Because unless we're constantly making endeavor to improve our chanting, improve our devotional attitude, increase our service, unless we're constantly endeavoring to do these things, then we will not go forward. We'll become lax and we'll slide back.
Если мы будем постоянно улучшать и усовершенствовать свое служение, то мы не сможем соскользнуть назад, и у нас не будет такой.
So Krishna consciousness, practicing Krishna consciousness means that every day, practically every moment, at least we'll say every day, each of us needs to be a little introspective. You understand?
Движение нашей жизни каждый день нам нужно быть таким осознанным, то, что мы делаем.
We need to look within and see, am I chanting the best I can chant? Am I having the right attitude in association with devotees the best I can?
И нужно постоянно отслеживать свое поведение, правильно ли я делаю служение, правильно ли я общаюсь с клиентами, как я воспеваю, следить за этими
we need to be introspective and constantly be thinking how to improve our devotional service. That's all.
И нам нужно постоянно следить за тем, как я улучшаю свое поведение.
Because if we're not acting in a way to go move forward in devotional service, if we're not, then by nature we will move backwards. We can never stay exactly in one position. We gotta go forward or we get pushed back.
Мы не можем находиться постоянно в этом положении, постоянно происходит колебания вверх и вниз. И чтобы падать вниз, необходимо прикладывать усилия каждый раз и таким образом подниматься.
So having the ability to keep chanting and keep following the regular principles and so on, and staying in association with devotees, it's also an indication of how we are advancing.
И когда мы общаемся с преданными, другими, по результатам нашего общения, мы можем констатировать, насколько мы продвинуты.
If we're not advancing, then we will start losing if we're not moving forward in our advancement, and we'll start losing our, as we talked the other day, our enthusiasm to do so.
И если мы не находимся в правильном состоянии, то мы будем постоянно терять энтузиазм.
Anyway, those are a couple of points. Are there questions? Comments?
Question is, Srila Prabhupada tells that every bigger fish has a beard, because there are more bigger fish.
Yes.
But if we will say that Nimi is the last point of the size of fish, it means Nimi hasn't fear. Because nobody can Nimi. Короче, Шрила Прабхупада говорит, что рыбка, мотивация рыбок, он говорит, так, чтобы рыбки просто были больше. Вот. А получается, что Nimi она никого не будет.
Still, there's yes, and maybe some gillfish may not be afraid of bigger fish, maybe a bigger some gillfish. But they're definitely not free from fear. Yeah, just like we have human bodies. Of course, we also can be fearful of others who may attack. But we can also become fearful of something inside, germs and things that will kill us. So I can't say too much about the Nimi gillfish. I've never seen one. I only know about them by from Srila Prabhupada has told us about them. But they definitely have their miseries also. I can't. Yeah. They got some problem. We just don't know necessarily. Maybe it's not a bigger fish. maybe some other problem.
Может быть, она сама такая. I read research of modern scientists, and they found that dolphins, this is special form of life of their civilization, dolphins civilization. Never fish eat dolphins. Never fish eat dolphins. And nobody eat dolphins. So this is one kind of species of life. Nobody eats them.
Well, then there must be zillions and zillions of dolphins out there because the population will increase more and more.
Yes, but such things, nobody eats dolphins. People don't eat dolphins.
People don't, and no fish do. How do you know? How do they know? How do the scientists know?
Scientists made some research.
Yeah. Scientists can only see this much of a huge ocean. But in any case, the point here is we're not, I mean, zoology.
Only information.
Yeah.
Something
Yes.
new.
But the general idea is that every species of life, as long as we have material body, there's some kind of misery, some kind of anxiety, some kind of problem. So the best thing is to become Krishna conscious, and we can transcend that and not to leave the material world altogether. That's the thing. I mean, even the topmost demigods have fear. They have fear of the demons coming from other planets.
Даже полумбоги, они без страха боятся, что демоны придут и захватят.
So the solution is become Krishna conscious, and then we can go back to the spiritual world, and we won't have these problems that are related to the material world.
Решение это стать Кришной и вернуться в духовный мир, там уже не будет проблем с материальным миром.
Okay, so that's all. Then we'll stop today. Tomorrow, continue with the Srimad-bhagavatam. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Сегодня мы заканчиваем.